If there's one thing that I learned from the Boondocks, it's that the black community is completely torched. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and go into a little discussion that I want to talk about for a while, and that's the black community and this whole, colorism issue, even though I just call it blatant racism. So, as you know, I am a mixed race guy, somebody with, a lighter skin tone, maybe a tan, kind of a brown shade. So, I want to call out some of the hypocrisy that nobody would touch on, or very few people would touch on. So, there's this whole racism issue going on in the black community, where it's pretty much, darker skinned individuals attacking lighter skinned individuals. And pretty much they're made it this trend to, target us and ridicule us, especially me with my experiences. Because, I've been, fighting these guys ever since I was a child. But yes, like I said, I'm kind of a tan shade. And I find it funny how they can get away with saying anything to me, yet if I say something back to them, then that's seen as a problem, which I find funny, since white people did the same thing to them, decades back when it was slavery. And now they take it out on me just because of my skin color. And yes, they do the same thing to, white people and other groups of people too. And I find it so funny how something like this is always swept underneath the rug. I made a video about this early on my YouTube channel where I talked about this, how this is swept underneath the rug. So yeah, this whole, light skin versus dark skin or mixed race versus black people thing, which I find hilarious because these people, I'm just gonna keep it real with you, they do not, like me or anyone like, my skin color. I should know because almost every single day I deal with, these attacks from these people, even from other groups of people too. I know other people do with racism, but some of the shit I've been through, like you can't make this up. Like I said, I fought these people, all throughout school and all that. And even today, at the warehouse I worked at, they were doing the same thing there, targeting me for my skin color and all that. And guess what? Nobody did a thing. Like it was pretty much me defending myself. I even pulled the manager over, telling him to, knock it off and all that. But I ended up getting in trouble at my job that I worked at, just because the managers were targeting me, and I was just seen as that was just seen as, acceptable. And I'm here thinking, if I did the same shit to them that they do to me, I would have lost my job. But instead, I'm dealing with their bullshit because and I know this is a hard pill to take in, but American society, excuse me, I mean white American society, allow these Negroes to get away with racism. And there's a reason why black fatigue exists, because people like myself and even the white people in white America are fed up with it. And it's about time, because I see more people making videos on this. And I didn't want to make this channel about identity politics or anything. Like I want to move on from that. But I'm just putting this message out about this subject, about this whole quote unquote colorism, even though it's just racism. This is usually swept underneath the rug unless it's affecting them. And I had problems with certain members of my family who do the same shit, like I don't speak to them anymore, nor will I ever speak to them. Because as soon as I do the same thing to them, then they put me out as a villain. But that's pretty much all I got to say for this subject right here. If there's anybody dealing with this whole quote unquote colorism, racist attacks, this whole light skinned versus dark skinned shit going on, or whatever, mixed race issues, then just let me know down in the comments below. But besides that, this is me signing out.